Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, Billy Ho here, coming at you with the 2023 Dell Match Play Bracket Challenge for next week's NCAA. I'm glad they put this together in the same kind of weeks, and it's going to be the last year, maybe in the final year of its. As the tour is not scheduling it again for the foreseeable future. It's not on the schedule next year, and I don't know if they'll ever bring it back, but I'm sure if we clamor hard enough for it, we'll get it back. So hopefully that gets her done. But 5 things before we get started, like I have been asking. It's one is subscribe to the channel. Two is smash the like button so I can get the algos going. And three is check out the preview article, especially this week, because there's a lot of strategy. I got the DraftKings scoring because scoring is different for this particular tournament, and you're going to want to have strategies where you're not drawn dead. So we'll get to that. And I mean, it's not news to most of the people in the DFS community, but there are people out there that still put together lineups that are what we call dead money. So we're going to show you how to avoid that as best we can. And also the Discord, the links are in the description, and we've had a couple new members here and there, and sometimes they come and go. But we've had the same core group of guys, and we get it done every week. We had some big hitters. Big R Colts fan Ryan Monster hit third place in the big $5 single entry. So we got, and I had some pretty good hits. David had some hits, and we got some guys that win money. So we're not stupid, right? So let's go ahead and get started. Like I said, the bracket doesn't come out till Monday. So we're going to discuss lineup construction, strategy, DraftKings scoring, and obviously we're going to do a breakdown of the screen. And before that, we're going to do just a quick recap of the first round of the actual NCAA basketball, since I have a bracket going. We're not going to discuss brackets, but I'm just going to take a look at my early thoughts because I watched a pretty decent amount of the games here and there, bits and pieces and whatnot. So let's get it going. Yeah. All right, tournament challenge, and this is the brackets. Alabama looked pretty. We'll start up here in the South. Alabama looked pretty strong. They shot a ton of threes, and they played Corpus Christi. I was making fun of it because it looked like Texas A&M Community College, but they were running it up on them at the end, still shooting threes. Crazy stuff. If anybody heard about the player that had the potential case pending, he's clear of that. He took probation, so there's not going to be any blowback as far as that's concerned. But Alabama looks strong. They look like a number one overall seed. They put the beat down on them like they're supposed to. They did make a lot of threes, so sometimes you do live and die by that. But we'll see. Of course, Furman, we all know the buzzer beater. That was a big win, and Virginia screwed that up. And a lot of what I call tight butthole being played, where the guys were nervous and their butthole gets real tight. So I'm going to get to that in a second. San Diego State looks solid, and they're thumping Furman. San Diego State is looking good. I kind of like them. Creighton and Baylor a little later on. Creighton was down against NC State, and I was thinking, oh man, people were talking like my old buddy Rick Run Good about the leverage on Creighton, and they were struggling there for a while, but they flipped the script on them and got a nice 9-point win going away. Baylor looks solid. They busted ass. I like Baylor. Some people don't. Baylor's a past champion. I mean, they know how to get her done. So Missouri looked good, and Princeton beat Arizona. That was the tight butthole. Arizona was beat with 3 minutes to go in that game. They didn't score a single point. They went on a 9-0 run, as Princeton did, and Missouri couldn't hit their ass with either hand. They were awful. They were scared little kitties out there. So I actually have Missouri coming out on a couple of them over Arizona anyway. So hopefully that works out pretty good. And we'll just go on down here to the East. because Fairleigh Dickinson was the other one. Purdue was the other tight butthole. They looked terrible. I mean, they were beat with 10 minutes to go in that game. They got outplayed from tip to end. But I don't know this for sure. I might be wrong. You can correct me in the comments. But I think Fairleigh Dickinson lost their conference championship game to a Division II team that is moving up to Division I and were not eligible. So that tells you Fairleigh Dickinson's predicament. So nice win by them, though. They had a blueprint, got it done. They will face Florida Atlantic. I think that was Dunk City from a couple of years ago. They look good. People were high on Memphis. I heard some rumblings on them like they were awesome. And don't take that if you ever for future reference. If a team just absolutely boat races, runs train on somebody in their conference championship game, that doesn't mean shit. They exactly because Memphis ran train in their championship game. Of course, Duke, Tennessee getting her done. Kentucky, I watched last night. Go Cats! A little bit of a shaky game there for a while, but Shigway, I mean the rebounding, they just dominated the boards against a smaller opponent. So nice win by them, and nobody else to speak of that I got to see. I didn't really get to see a whole lot of these guys. The Zags get it done. UCLA gets it done. UConn beat up on Patino's Iona. I kind of enjoyed that. I gave some shit on Twitter about Patino, and it's a long story there, being a local Louisvillian and Kentucky fan to boot. So we all know how we feel about Ricky P. Kansas, nice big winner over Howard. Texas got it done by 20. And Xavier, so it was pretty rock chalk. Pittsburgh with a mild upset over Ohio State. Iowa State, I thought would do a little damage, but they didn't. So Miami hates the Drake, so they get her done. And Houston, a so-so win over Northern Kentucky. Go Norse, nice job. Way to give them Northern Kentucky team. Way to give them a go there. So that's enough of that. We're going to get into the Austin Country Club here right quick. And this is just a 3D planner. This is a really cool site. So Austin Country Club, Pete Dye design. It features a lot of undulating greens. Let's see. Well, let's get in here and look. And this is just hole number 1. And you can take this through, and it shows you shot by shot. And you get an idea on the layout of the course. It's wide open. Wind is the only defense to this course. So we're looking at narrow fairways, but the rough's not real penal. You can see how it's kind of burned out a little bit. It's like 2-inch. Actually, your specs are 7,082 yards, par 71. Bermuda Zoysia grass fairways, 2-inch Bermuda rough, 5,500 square feet, so smallish greens, Bermuda grass with POA overseed. So there you go. And we'll go in here in the next shot. You can take a look at the greens. And these are kind of how the greens are. And you're going to have your around the green game. There's well over 100 bunkers, so sand game's going to come into play as well. And the skills required as we get into that, players must have the ability to hit the shots, draws. If you can hit the draw very good, you hit fades too, high-low shots, control in the wind, because the wind, like I said, is the defense. And looking at the early outlook of next week, the wind is going to play a factor. The wind doesn't look sustained-wise. It looks between maybe 9 and 12, maybe 15 at the most, which ain't bad. But the gusts, these Texas gusts coming off that river that's in this map somewhere, it's going to provide some anywhere from 25 to 35 to 40 mile an hour gusts. And I feel like Texas has longer sustained gusts, because sometimes these gusts can blow, just a few seconds to 5 or 10 seconds to up to 15 to 20 seconds. And when you get up to that much gusts, it can really, really affect those approach shots, and even putting. It can really give you the problems on the putting. So the basically key stats are looking like this. Bear with me just a second as the sheet comes up. This I don't know a whole lot about, because it's a match play, so we don't have strokes gain data, and that it's a wedge fest. It's a short course, so it's Pete Dye golf, And what you have to do is hit fairways is fine, but position off the tee, equally important. Strokes gained wedges is what I call it. Greens gained, and your short game needs to be on. Obviously, putting. And a big thing for me on key stats this week is bogey avoidance, because when you get to scoring, as we will in here in just a second. Also, real quick, 3 highly gettable par 5s and 5 par 4s under 400 yards. So basically, anybody can compete here. So what we're going to get into is the format a little bit. So this is the article as it's coming together, and it's really early. So I did get into there's a bracket format. And the first thing you want to do is get a copy of this bracket when it comes out Monday, or you can just get a blank one, really. Because if you get down here, I got the list of the right here of the top 64 players. Oh, by the way, Justin, JT and Rose are playing this week. They're skipping next week, so they won't be there. So anyway, the 64 players, the top 16 players get what they call the A draw. And then this is how it works. Match play draw will take place on Monday. And then pod play begins Wednesday. There are 16 pods of 4. And those pods play a round robin format through Friday. That means the 4 guys play each other once, 3 rounds, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Then the pods are assembled like this by choosing players from the 4 pools. The A pool is the top 16 players, so that's going to be your 16 pods. Then the B group is the next guys, 17 to 32 in the OWGR, and then the pool C is 33 through 48. Pool D is 49 through 64. So you're going to have an A, B, C, and D in each pod, and they'll just ping pong draw B through D. So anyway, that's just kind of how it goes. And then, of course, the scoring, DraftKings scoring, we'll go over real quick. It's holes won, 3 points, tied and lost or plus 75.75. Lost is minus 0.75. So halved holes and lost holes are not a big deal. So even if you go through and you lose 7 or 8 holes in a match, but you win, excuse me, then that's the wins are the most important. Matches won, obviously. Matches tied, you get that half, you get an extra 2 points, but the matches won are the huge ones. And then, of course, you got your birdie or your streaks, and just like birdie streaks, you have 3 consecutive holes won. You get 5 big points for that. And then you get no holes lost in a match, which is plus 7.5. That's a stretch. The no holes lost. You really got to dominate. And there has been some, it can happen. But holes not played, 1.6 points per hole. And that's the ones where you get like the, what is it, 5 and 4. So the guy's up by 5 strokes, but there's only 4 holes left to play. So the match is over. And then you got 4 holes. So you'd have 1.6 times 4. Those are the kind where you rack up points, dominant efforts. So scoring notes are down here, and that kind of explains what I just did. If a golfer wins a match by a score of 4 and 2, you got 2 holes not played, right? So also withdrawals, and this is only, I believe, counts if a player withdraws during the match and they have to play at least 10 holes. A match must go 10 holes for the no holes lost. So if they go 10 holes and somebody gets hurt and withdraws, then you get 8 holes not played. So that could be huge. It rarely happens, but if a player withdraws before the match, then you don't get the holes bonus or nothing like that. You do get the credit for the win, though, the match won. So that's just kind of how it goes there. So getting into strategy, and what I want to do is bring up, this is courtesy of Rick Run Good. He put this together. Then this is last year's bracket. So this is what you're looking at, and this is just one section of it. It's 4 sections, just like your regular NCAA bracket. You can go 1, 2, 3, 4, or whatever. but you have a north, south, east, west, or whatever however you want to do it. But you get your two groups, and these are kind of mini sections, is what I call them. And then you got your brackets down here. So these are the pools, like I was talking about, 4-player pools like this. These guys are going to play each other once. You don't, when you're doing a lineup, you don't want to pick two guys in the same pod. That's just anti-productive. You're drawing dead. That's dead money. Even if you get the guy coming out, what you want to try to do is pick a guy from each section. If you start, the easiest way to do it is to go this section here. This is a top and a bottom. See how they're color coded green and so this group here, pick one guy here, one guy from this section, and then you come over here, you pick one guy out of this section, and then one guy out of the section number 4. There's 4 separate sections. You know you're not going to screw yourself. And then the next thing you can do, if you just want to be logical about it, is your next 2 guys, find the 2 groups that you're most maybe have the strongest groups, and you got more than one guy that might come out. And you can do from the same side, but the smart move would be to take one from one from each side, one from this side, and then down here. And then that way, the only way they can meet is in championship match. So 2 guys from different sides. But that's okay if you do have 2 guys from the same side, because the worst case, they would meet in the final 4. And if they did meet, then you're guaranteeing yourself a guy in the championship match. And because even if they if they do happen to get to the final 4, guess what? You still get to play a consolation match. You lose that first match, and then you play the consolation match. So if you make it to the final 4, you're still playing 2 matches on Sunday that you can score points with. So that's what you got to keep in mind. So basically, if you do feel strongly enough, absolutely go for it. This was just a quick hitter. I hope I didn't go too fast for you. I'm going to try to have a show out. I don't know if I'll get David or not. His schedule changed, so I'm not sure if we'll hook up. This may be a solo act for me, and maybe I'll ask him to do a few minutes with me on Punta Cana, because I didn't realize in the first that Punta Cana was the only tournament this week. I didn't notice Dell on the schedule for some dumb reason. I don't know. I wasn't thinking. I was sick for a week and a half, so forgive me. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed the show. We'll be back with more strategy and tips and all that good stuff. And if you join the Discord, you can hit us up there, because we'll be talking strategy all week, baby. So let's go. Till the next video, we'll see you soon. Thank you for watching. Go Cats.